shot once in the head. The female was transported to a local hospital for treatment and unfortunately succumbed to her injuries. The male was pronounced dead at the scene. While we're still involved in an active investigation, all the information to this point indicates to the male that the male shot the female multiple times before shooting himself. It appears that the male forced entry into the home and confronted the female before shooting her and then himself. There were 2 other people inside the residence at the time. They were not involved in the incident and were unharmed. The female has been identified as Miguelina LeBron, age 45 of Ansonia, and the male has been identified as Yanis Tavares, age 47 of Bridgeport. LeBron and Tavares were divorced, and the incident took place at LeBron's residence. The Ansonia Police Department would like to thank the Connecticut State Police Central District Major Crimes, the Department of Children and Families, Milford Office, and the Yale Trauma Clinic Services for their assistance during this investigation. I would now like to turn it over to Chief Williams for his statement.
Good afternoon. I'll try to keep it brief. This community has again been rocked by a senseless crime of domestic violence. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the families and the friends that are affected by this devastating event. This tragedy serves as a heartbreaking reminder of the serious impact of domestic violence in our society. Domestic violence is a critical issue that affects individuals and families from all walks of life. Lieutenant Lynch has provided you with the details of this incident, which is not the first time that this community nor others across this nation have experienced this type of crime. Connecticut alone has lost over 300 lives in the last 2 decades to domestic violence. If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, please know that help is available. You don't have to face these situations alone. We encourage anyone in need of assistance to reach out to their local police department, domestic violence agencies across Connecticut, Connecticut Safe Connect, or the National Domestic Violence Hotline. Here in this community, we partner with the Umbrella Center for Domestic Violence Services through BH Care. There are people ready to listen and provide support, whether it's through counseling, emergency shelter, or legal assistance. Our department is committed to working with our community partners to ensure that every individual knows that there are resources and support available to them. My message to all victims of domestic violence is that you are not alone. Make the call and we will get you in contact with the help that you need. At the conclusion today, Lieutenant Lynch will provide you with contact information for the domestic violence agencies, and will also include that information in the press release that will be put out online. At this time, we'll take any questions that you may have.
A number of people in the neighborhood reported hearing glass shattering. Is that safe to say that that was part of the forced entry, that the individual maybe smashed a window, smashed a door to gain access to the house?
At this point, the search warrant is ongoing at the house, but that is one of the theories we believe was the beginning of the incident, yes.
Breaking into it. And it was his house?
It was her house.
Her house.
She lived there with her 3 children. Actually, it was all 3 of their children together. So she lived there with their 3 children. He was residing in Bridgeport. They had divorced. I don't know when they divorced. But we've had no calls for service at that residence. We've had no interaction between the 2 individuals, and we believe they've lived there since about March of this year.
Where were the 3 children?
2 of the children were at home. The 3rd one had already left for work. One of the children is who called us and made the initial 911 call.
How old are the children?
We're not going to release the age at this time. They are teenagers. We're not going to release their ages at this time.
Can you tell us about the house? It's a multifamily home. You were saying the first floor?
It is a multifamily home. First floor is, there's nobody residing in it this time. They were residing, I believe it's the 2nd and 3rd floor combined is where our victim and her children were living.
And there was no indication on your end, like you said, no calls for service, that this severity of the incident was about to take place?
No, we had, like I stated previously, there was no previous calls for us. I don't believe there were any court orders in place. We've checked that. I don't know if there were any previous court orders in place, but there were no current court orders in place. And I don't want to misquote myself, but I don't believe there was ever any previous arrest, but I'm not positive on that. But that's
Was there any calls for domestic at that house in the past?
No, I think our last call for service there was 2022 maybe, or 2023, and it was not involving anyone that's involved in this incident.
Thank you.
So for people in the neighborhood that are kind of seeing the state police, they're seeing the investigators out there, what can you kind of tell us and them about kind of where this goes from there, here, and what's happening in the neighborhood?
The most important thing for us now is to make sure we gather any available evidence that's out there. so that we can come to the conclusion of what actually happened, and we can tell everyone with some certainty that's what happened. So the state police will be out there for several hours. They're a great partner to us in assisting us with doing crime scene investigations, while our detectives are allowed to do the boots on the ground, interviewing people and getting out there to make notifications and get information.
So the three children, teenagers, you said, some
Yes.
minors, who are they with? How are they doing?
Currently, they're with family, and as could be expected, it's not going to be very easy for them.
Do you know if the gun was like a legal weapon? Or-
We have not even reached that point in the investigation. Everything is still in the house. State police, within the last hour, started the search warrant to recover evidence from the house.
Did the children say like what they heard, what they saw that led up to this like escalated shooting?
At this point, we don't have any information to release on that. They have been interviewed, and we will interview them again if necessary.
And we can call this a murder-suicide?
It is, we are temporarily classifying as a murder-suicide. We're just going to wait for the rest of the evidence to come in, but all indications to this point is it a murder-suicide.
Since this is what seems like an isolated incident, I guess what would be your message then to the community that might be worried about something happening in their
Well,
neighborhood?
just that, it's an isolated incident. To kind of piggyback off what the chief was talking about, domestic violence is a continual problem, and we have great partners in the valley. BH Care and the Umbrella is tremendous services. Whenever we call them, they come here. Today, DCF did not hesitate to send people down. Yale Trauma Clinic did not hesitate to send people down, so that we had them available when we were talking to the kids and trying to get that done. So it's back to, if you see something, say something. If you hear an argument, if you hear a disturbance, call the police department. We'd rather go there and find out it's an argument over something nonsense rather than have it be something serious.
The child that was at work, was he the one who, or she, the one who had graduated from Emmett last year?
I don't know. I know there's a sign about a graduate from, it would fit the age group, but I'm not positive on that.
And do you know, I'm sorry if you said this, how long they've been living in Ansonia?
Our indications are since March of this year, the victim and her 3 children were living at the house.
Do you know what town they were previously from?
Previously, they resided in Milford, and I believe our detectives have been in touch with Milford and got information, and I don't believe there was any indication of any issues in Milford other than the divorce.
And we don't know when they got divorced, right?
I don't have that information available at this time. Okay, I know I said the names pretty quickly, so I'll try to say them slower, and I hope I didn't butcher the names that we have. The female is Miguelina, Miguelina, LeBron, Lebron, and she is 45. And the male has been identified as Yanis, Yanis Tavares, Tavarez, out age 47, currently was residing in Bridgeport.
Well, are you sending out that information?
Yes.
Okay,
A press release will be issued with all this information in it, and it'll also be posted on our Facebook page.
will that go out shortly?
Yes, I'm hoping as soon as I leave here, I can go and hit send on what I have.
I'm sorry, this is rhetorical, is my last question, and you kind of touched upon it already, but obviously part of the investigation will be determining maybe what was that tipping point that might have led to this unfortunate.
Yeah, our detectives are going to try to dig as deep as they can to do interviews with friends and family to see if there was some incident that may have provoked this. At this point, we do not have anything that would indicate that.
One other question, the male, did he have any other records in any other towns or cities?
I don't know off the top of my head. I know that we've run a records check on him. The Detective Bureau has that. I'm not privy to that information right now. Okay, folks, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Let's take that stand.
I wish every cop was like this guy. I wish every PAO was like him. My microphone, I think.
Okay.